like I'm, that's the law. I'm always getting lawsuits. Shit, it's like ridiculous. That Instagram has caused me a lot of fucking lawsuits.
Damn.
And that's fucked up. Because I thought there was freedom of speech.
See, that is fucked up.
People do use certain
like
things.
Real lawsuits. They went all the way.
All those lawsuits, yeah. Like all the lawsuits that I've lost lately were from what you call it.
Copyright infringement?
Nah, it wasn't copyright infringement. Defamation.
Defamation of character?
Like if somebody will rob me and I talk about, like when the girl, remember that girl, and again, you know what's fucked up? When the girl accused me of sexually assaulting her because I caught her trying to steal out my house, the press was all over it. New York Times, fucking everybody. And then when I went through the trial and beat it down and it got, I beat it ridiculous, then no one talked about it. No one wants to write about it. And that's fucked up. But I already know that program. If I don't say nothing about the good shit about me, they'll just say stuff about the bad stuff and no one would know.
Right.
And you know what's fucked up? We did lose on one part of that, and that was the defamation, because when I put it up, I said that she robbed me. But in my brain, she did rob me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I can't say that someone robbed me when they tried to rob me.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? But it was like, they was like robbed. That means that she, like, they like broke it down a certain way. And I was like, all right, but it was so little, minuscule, that, it was a joke. They were trying to make it $100 million. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, and then also with the people that, took my movie that I directed and said that they directed it, again, it was a defamation because I said something about it, and that's what they look at. You know what I mean? Like certain people, that's their job, is to just look at little catty ways, and they're usually from my culture, which is crazy.
That's wild.
And that's fucked up.
Man, you should put the dog back up. Stop getting sued.
That doesn't matter.
Now they know it's you, though.
It doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? It's like now I just have to be, and you know what's really fucked up is all the things that I posted on Instagram, I would ask my lawyer if it was legal. And
everything?
Like, yeah.
Damn. I was be posting wild shit. Nobody ever said anything to me.
Well, it's about people proving that either you had malice when you did it, and that it messed up some money. So you have to prove that it messed up money. But then there's like, if you get caught up with the malice part, because I'd be like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like I'd be like, of course, I was angry when I put that shit up, and my intention was to show my part of the story for the narrative. But a lot of times you might get with a jury that, like in New York, I would get juries, because the people that are fucking with me, this dude, I don't even want to say his name. I don't feel like having another lawsuit. But the lawyer that keeps fucking with me, he has like, I went through 4 trials this year with the same guy, but he lost the last one. So, we'll have to, that's all I was waiting for him to do was lose one.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was the one I really needed him to lose. And another thing, like he harasses Raquel, like he, So,
damn.
And it's never, for me, the things that happen with me, which is fucked up, is it's never like a natural, organic thing where things get like fucked up for me. You know what I mean? It's always like a group of men from my culture, like a Steve Stout, that'll get with a Leor Cohen and then go holler at a Jay-Z and then go, and tell people like, yo, if you mess with him, then you can't mess with me. And it's like a real conspiracy. And the reason why I know it, like I would hear about it, but like as soon as I get and step to niggas, like if I see Steve Stout, he throws everybody under the bus and tells me everything. So I'd be like, yo, what was that all about? That was Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? He'd be like, yo, that was Leor and them. And then when I go see, like, I'll see L.A. Reid and be like, yo, what was all that shit about in the paper? That was Steve Stout who put that in the paper, saying, because, there was a moment in time when it was like, it was in the paper that me and homie was beefing. And I was like, I'm not beefing with him. Why? Who keeps putting that in the paper?
Right.
But then when I was telling homie, I was like, why you not straightening that out? Well, it just adds fuel to the fire. I was like, yeah, all right. So, well, you know what I mean? He had somebody doing his dirty work. But now that I know there was an actual, like, I saw it on the, Dave Mays sent it to me, like a clip of Un saying that, there was a plan to get me out of there. Like he was going to get people conspire to fuck with me, and the reason why he's butthurt because I smacked the shit out of him. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Everyone that, like, has a reason to get at me because we had some man shit and they lost on some man shit, they go do some, like, underhanded to me, like, girl shit. And I don't even want to disrespect girls because this shit is, like, lower than bullshit.
Right.
So there's always some degree of a conspiracy against me. So like if you notice like at BET, like I didn't even get invited to anything. Like I don't know if I would have went, but it's like, yo, it's hip hop. How y'all don't invite Dame Dash?
Right.
And then people in BET be like, yo, why they invite you? They be like, well, when they ask the person like that runs it, they'll be like, oh, well, you know, he still has beef with Jay and da. And I'd be like, this shit was like 30 years ago. What the fuck are y'all talking about? I never had a beef with Jay. I just want to get the fuck away.
Right.
You know, like you sell companies and you don't have to continue to do that with people, but you know, in another culture, you sell a company, whether it was a bad or good thing, you celebrate, you know, and then you go and sell another company, regardless. And sometimes people do bullshit because people sometimes are from different places, so their morals are different.
So you feel like Jay and some of the other people from your past still got some bitterness?
3,000%. They all be on some bullshit. I'm saying it because I hear it.
Right.
So the bottom line is it didn't bother me for a while because I was out doing artsy shit, like opening up art galleries and blah, blah, blah. But when I have a movie out and I'm trying to put it on BET or I'm trying to get it distributed and I'm hearing that bullshit, I'm like, damn, y'all really was butthurt. Like, I didn't know it was like that. You know, you hear about shit, but I didn't know it was that concrete. So when somebody says it in an interview, how can and then somebody sends it to me to trigger me, of course I'm gonna be bothered about it. Like I had to call my therapist about that shit.
Right.
Like I'm like, yo, this shit is making me think like different ways about how to approach things, and one of those ways are very dark. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I don't want to think like that because I ain't gonna do nothing. So I'm like, what can I do? I don't want to internalize that shit, but this shit is pissing me off. But you know, I'll deal with it. And it's fucked up.
Is it gonna help or hurt you with the new purchase? BET and
Tyler Perry
was just bought by Tyler Perry.
Just real quick, let me ask you a question. You guys are smart guys, right? Did you read that in the Wall Street?
I'm much smarter than him.
Let me finish. Did you read that in the Wall Street Journal?
I don't know. Definitely not.
You heard it on TikTok or something? Did you read it in the New York Times?
We all know that I'm like a top reader.
I'm just asking. Did you read it?
Read the top
I'm just
articles.
asking. I'm just asking.
Click in.
I'm just asking.
Scrolling.
No, I think it was Instagram, actually.
He's a
Did
Facebook
you,
guy.
I'm just asking.
Scrolling through shit.
You're not going to let me ask. Did you read it in the New York Times?
Definitely not.
So I wouldn't go with that narrative until you read it officially in a trade magazine or something like that. I wouldn't go with the TikTok.
Oh, okay. So it ain't happened yet.
Well, did you hear it come out of his mouth?
No.
Oh, okay.
He definitely. That's fair.
That's why I don't talk about other cats' business based on what I heard, because I never really know if it's true, and sometimes you can make yourself look silly, you know, in the future if you stand 10 toes on something that's a rumor. So you don't want to stand on that unless you read it someplace. And that's how I approach things. Like if I read it in the Forbes, I don't believe it. But if it's like the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times, places where they're known for being valid,
credible,
then I believe it. But if I first hear it on TikTok, I don't go with it. Okay. I know how to control the algorithm, so anybody can. You understand what I'm saying? So if somebody wants a narrative out there, you can make an announcement and pay to have that shit with them bots. Just repost that shit all day. And if you look at where you're getting your information from TikTok, it's usually you go back, it's a bot. You know, meaning it was bought.
I'm not very good with TikTok, but it was probably maybe Instagram or something.
I think it was Facebook.
TikTok.
Yeah, you are.
But
Facebook.
all those, but I'm saying they're all, because lately I've been on TikTok because I was trying to learn this shit. And I was like, what's the Chinese doing? And I understand what they're doing. They're pushing, you know, the bullshit. Like there's things on my feed.
Definitely.
I'm like, I'm fucking to 52. I don't want to see what Didi Osama's doing, but I don't mind now that I know. You know, but I'm like, it makes you knowledgeable about shit that was like damaging or like traumatizing to me when I was young. You know, like it's like, damn, they really push a lot of violence. You know, even though they don't show the actual hits, they talk about the narrative of us hurting each other a lot. There's a lot of interviews of people of like glorifying things that they did that wasn't beneficial to our culture. And that's fucked up. So I understand the Korea thing, like, or China, you know, they're pushing the wrong fucking algorithms and we should have our own. But even if we have our own, they're still going to push an algorithm that controls us. And that's fucked up. So what I know is that, you know, when Cam and Mace was beefing, it's good that they're together now. When Mace did a diss record, YouTube gave Cam money to respond. Now, what if that turned into somebody getting killed? You know, and they can control algorithms. So there's certain things they won't play, but when it comes to us hurting each other, they will play. And that's fucked up.
Absolutely.
So back in the day, when you and Jay-Z first met, how'd you guys actually become friends?
Because he had... You know, he was trying to get, like, he was like hustling and shit. And Clark was like, told me about him and we met. And, you know, what I was able to do was refine his hustle as well. But, you know, it was like through that, we became friends through the things he was doing off, you know, and then also because of what we were doing, because I put him on a single with Original Flavor. So we were all touring in a Pathfinder, a 4-door Pathfinder, which was mine. And I got teased for it because I didn't have a ski rack on it. So Jay bought it from me. He didn't care. And and he didn't. He's like, I don't give a fuck. And, you know, the rest was history. You know, we just had a lot through through the touring and doing, because the bottom line is when people aren't fucking with you, like when you can't get a corporate check, you have to only eat off the land.
Right.
Which is how I eat now. I don't get corporate checks. That shit's been shut down for me for about 20 years. I have to live off the land. Like I have to make a product and people have to buy it. Or I have to be very strategic about it. And then I'm like a serial entrepreneur, so I have 10 verticals that I fund all myself.
Right.
So I'm never ever able to look at money. You know what I mean? But I'm always ahead of industry because I'm looking for freedom. And, you know, when you're ahead of industry, then people aren't ready to do certain things. So I've been having streaming services since 2005. I had television networks with Creative Control, Kudi and Shike, with DD172 in 2005.
Wow.
But that was before YouTube was even monetizing YouTube. They weren't even running commercials back then. So I'm always first. Like, you know, I sold vodka first. Like, you know, Puff and I have had conversations like, yo, why do I inspire you so heavy, bro? You know what I'm saying? He's like, you know, I do a good job. I'm like, you do. I just don't raise money. I'm not the corporate guy. I just have to flip. I only depend on my hustling skills. It's not like a big, brilliant thing. But I don't focus on one thing because I'm good at so many things. Like I'm nuts with it. Like I'm insane. You know what I mean? So it's like this week it was putting out a theatrical that I directed, scored, and, you know, did all of this shit with it, and then distributed it myself. And then now, you know, the next day what I'm doing is mixing a project with Freeway that's coming out in October, and then I got to launch the streaming service, and then I got to put out the sneakers, and then I got to put out, you know, the hair, and then we got the vitamins and all that. And you see my crew, it's just us.
Right.
But we're inspired, and we see opportunity, and we just, you know, if it's not fun, we really don't do it.